Abandoned by her boyfriend on a deserted road, she thought the worst had already happened. But when she looked at the forest, she saw a jaguar that made her heart stop. The alarm on her phone buzzed at 7 a.m. Nina's eyes opened to unfamiliar beige walls. Her black curls had escaped their bun during the night, spreading across the cheap hotel pillow. The wedding reception's free drinks left a dull throb behind her temples. Marcus lay next to her, his back turned. He hadn't moved when the alarm went off. "Time to get up," Nina said. Her throat felt dry. Marcus grunted. The sheets rustled as he rolled over. His eyes stayed closed. Nina sat up and grabbed her phone. 3 messages from her best friend, the bride. "Had the best time. Love you, girl. Text me when you get home." The bathroom mirror showed smudged mascara under her eyes. Nina splashed cold water on her face and studied her reflection. 20 years old. Dark skin that her mother used to call midnight beauty before she left. She touched the small scar above her right eyebrow. A reminder of the orphanage. A knock on the bathroom door. "You gonna be in there all day?" Marcus's voice carried an edge. "Just washing up." Nina opened the door. Marcus stood there shirtless, jaw tight. "Breakfast ends at 9. He brushed past her. The hotel's breakfast room smelled of coffee and burnt toast. Nina sat across from Marcus at a corner table. She picked at dry scrambled eggs while he scrolled through his phone. "You were talking to that guy a lot last night," Marcus said, without looking up. Nina's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. "What guy?" "Don't play dumb. The best man, Jake or whatever." "Jason." "And I wasn't talking to him. He was telling everyone about his new job." Marcus's phone clattered onto the table. "Right. And you had to stand so close to hear him?" "There was music playing. Everyone was standing close." "I saw how you looked at him." Nina pushed her plate away. "Can we not do this? It was a nice wedding. I danced with my best friend. That's all." "That's not all." Marcus lowered his voice. "You've been different lately. Distant." "I'm not distant. I'm tired. And now you're creating problems that don't exist." They packed in silence. Nina zipped her overnight bag with more force than necessary. The drive home would take 4 hours. 4 hours of this tension. Marcus drove. Trees blurred past. The radio played static between stations. Nina watched clouds gather on the horizon. "You didn't deny it," Marcus said after an hour. "Deny what?" "Looking at him." "Marcus, stop." "No." His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. "You think I'm stupid? You think I don't see?" "See what? Tell me what you think you see." The car swerved onto the shoulder. Gravel crunched under the tires. Nina grabbed the dashboard. "Get out!" Marcus's voice was ice. "What?" "Get out! We're in the middle of nowhere." "Should have thought about that before you embarrassed me." "Marcus, this is crazy." He reached across her and opened the passenger door. Wind rushed in. Nina's heart hammered against her ribs. "I said, get out." "Please." Marcus unbuckled her seatbelt, grabbed her arm. Nina's legs shook as he pulled her from the car. Her bag hit the dirt next to her. The door slammed. Tires spun in gravel. Nina watched the car shrink to a dot on the horizon. She stood on the empty road. Brown grass stretched for miles. No houses, no cars, no cell signal. The first tear fell, then another. Nina's chest heaved with sobs she couldn't control. Her legs gave out. She sat in the dust and wrapped her arms around her knees. A memory surfaced. Age 6. watching her mother walk away from the orphanage. The same feeling of abandonment crushed her chest. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher. Sweat trickled down Nina's neck. She walked, then sat, then walked again. Her water bottle was almost empty. A rustle in the tall grass made her freeze. Something moved in the shadows of the trees. Nina's breath caught in her throat. Yellow eyes stared back at her. A jaguar emerged from the grass, muscles rippling under spotted fur. Nina's mind went blank. Her body refused to move. The jaguar took a step forward, then another. Nina saw her own death in those eyes. An engine roared in the distance. The jaguar's head turned. A red classic car appeared on the road, kicking up dust. Two male voices shouted. The jaguar retreated into the grass. Nina's legs buckled. The ground rushed up to meet her as everything went black. Nina's head spun as consciousness returned. She lay in the dirt, sharp pebbles pressing into her palms. The sun burned overhead. Her throat felt like sandpaper. "Hey, you okay?" a deep voice asked. She blinked. Two men stood over her, brothers, by their similar features. Both wore dusty work clothes and worried expressions. "The jaguar," Nina croaked. "Gone now," the taller brother said. He crouched beside her. "I'm Thomas. That's my brother James. You're safe." Nina tried to stand. Her legs wobbled. "Easy there." James stepped forward to steady her. His hands were rough but gentle. "What are you doing out here alone?" The question hit like a punch. Nina's eyes burned. "My boyfriend, he left me here." "Left you?" Thomas's jaw tightened. "How long ago?" "Hours. I don't know exactly." Nina wiped her face. "My phone has no signal." "Nearest town's 40 miles away," James said. He glanced at Thomas. "We've got the farm about 5 miles back." Thomas nodded. "Let's get you some water first." Nina drank from their canteen. The water brought back another memory. Her first day at the orphanage, crying until her throat was raw. The caretaker forcing her to drink. "Your boyfriend," Thomas said. "See, he just drove off." Nina's hand trembled around the canteen. He thought, "He accused me of flirting with someone at my friend's wedding. I wasn't. He wouldn't listen." "Piece of work," James muttered. A branch snapped in the trees. Nina flinched. "Still scared of the cat?" Thomas asked softly. Nina nodded. Her heart wouldn't slow down. I saw it right there." "Those eyes! Jaguars don't usually attack humans," James said. "But being alone out here—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. The red car gleamed in the sunlight. A 1957 Pontiac, James explained with pride as they walked toward it. Nina's legs still felt weak. "I can't go back there," she whispered. The words surprised her. "Back where?" Thomas asked. "To him. To that life." Nina touched her arm where Marcus had grabbed her. A bruise was forming. "I just can't." The brothers exchanged looks. "Our farm has a spare room," James said. "You can rest. Call someone to pick you up." Nina hesitated. Two strange men, offering shelter. But the jaguar's eyes flashed in her memory. The empty road stretched endlessly. "Thank you," she said. The car's leather seats were cracked but comfortable. Nina sat in back. The engine rumbled to life. "I was 6, she said suddenly. The brothers glanced back. "When my mom left, she dropped me at the orphanage, said she'd come back." Silence filled the car. Nina didn't know why she'd shared that. The abandonment on the road had ripped open old wounds. "She never did," Nina continued. "Come back. I waited every day for a year. Parents can be cruel, Thomas said quietly. Speaking from experience? Nina asked, another shared look between the brothers. Our father wasn't exactly father of the year, James said. His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Nina watched dust clouds billow behind the car. The orphanage memories kept coming. Standing in line for meals. Fighting for bathroom mirror space. Watching other kids leave with new families, I promised myself I'd never let anyone abandon me again, she said. Stupid, right? Can't control what other people do. Not stupid, Thomas said. Human. The car hit a bump. Nina's bag slid across the seat. Her phone fell out, still no signal. Farm's got a landline, James said, catching her expression in the rearview mirror. Old-fashioned, but it works. Nina nodded. But who would she call? Her best friend was on her honeymoon. She had no family. The orphanage had aged her out at 18. Trees thickened along the road. Nina's pulse quickened when she thought she saw movement in the shadows. But the Jaguar was far behind now. Almost there, Thomas said. The car rounded a bend. A weathered farmhouse appeared, surrounded by fields. A red barn stood nearby. Chickens scattered as they pulled into the dirt driveway. Nina's hands wouldn't stop shaking. The day's events crashed over her. The fight, the abandonment, the Jaguar. These stranger saviors. You're crying, James said gently. Nina touched her cheek. Wet. She hadn't realized. Sorry, she whispered. Don't apologize, Thomas said. You've been through hell today. The engine died. Birds chirped in nearby trees. A warm breeze carried the scent of hay and earth. I keep thinking about her, Nina said. My mother. How she just drove away. I screamed for her to come back. Kids shouldn't have to beg for love, James said. Nina looked at him. Something in his voice. Pain recognized pain. The landline's inside, Thomas said. He opened her door. But no rush. Take all the time you need. Nina stepped out on shaky legs. The farmhouse looked solid, safe. But she'd thought Marcus was safe once, too. A distant roar made her jump. Just thunder, James said. Storm coming. Nina nodded, but her heart raced. She'd had enough of nature's threats for one day. I should warn you, Thomas said as they walked to the house. We don't get many visitors. Place isn't exactly the Ritz. Better than a dirt road with predators, Nina said. James chuckled. The sound was warm, genuine. Nina found herself smiling, her first real smile since the wedding. The screen door creaked. Nina paused at the threshold. Two strange men, an isolated farm, but the alternative was worse. Thunder rolled again, closer now. Nina stepped inside, leaving the Jaguar's eyes and Marcus's cruelty outside. For now, the farmhouse kitchen smelled of coffee and old wood. Nina sat at a worn table while James made a fresh pot. Thomas paced, checking his phone. Still no signal, he said. Storm's probably interfering. Nina wrapped her hands around the mug James set before her. Does the landline work in weather like this? A thunderclap answered her question. The lights flickered. Might be a while, James said, joining them at the table. These storms can last hours. Lightning illuminated the kitchen. Nina counted seconds until the thunder, getting closer. Tell us more about this boyfriend, Thomas said. Nina stared into her coffee. Not much to tell. Marcus seemed nice at first, charming. Then he started getting possessive, questioning everything. How long were you together? James asked. 8 months. Nina's fingers tightened around the mug. See, looking back, there were signs. I just ignored them. Thomas stopped pacing. Signs? Checking my phone, getting angry if I went out with friends, small things that got bigger. The brothers exchanged another look. Nina was starting to recognize their silent communication. What? She asked. Sounds familiar, James said. Our father. A crash of thunder cut him off. The lights died. Perfect, Thomas muttered. He moved to a drawer, pulled out candles. Nina's heart raced in the darkness. The Jaguar's eyes floated in her memory. Matches struck. Candlelight pushed back the shadows. Rain hammered the roof. You were saying, Nina prompted. About your father? James leaned back in his chair. He was controlling too. Made our lives hell until I shot him, Thomas said flatly. Nina's coffee cup froze halfway to her lips. Self-defense, James added quickly. He came at us with a knife. Thomas saved both our lives. Lightning flashed. Nina saw the pain in their faces. How old were you? She asked. I was 17, Thomas said. James was 15. Charges were dropped, James said. Clear case of self-defense. But the story stuck. People talk. That's why we keep to ourselves out here, Thomas explained. Nina nodded slowly. Their isolation made more sense now. I'm sorry, she said. Ancient history. James stood to refill their cups. Point is, we recognize the signs. Your boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend, Nina corrected. Ex-boyfriend, James smiled. He showed his true colors today. Better now than later. Thunder rattled windows. Nina jumped. Still thinking about the Jaguar? Thomas asked. Hard not to. Nina shivered. Oh, I've never felt so helpless. You're safe here, James said. His hand moved toward hers, then pulled back. Nina noticed, so did Thomas. His expression shifted slightly. Storm's setting in, Thomas said. You should stay tonight. We can try the landline in the morning. Nina hesitated. The thought of sleeping in a strange house with two men she'd just met. Spare rooms upstairs, James added. Lock on the door. We'll stay down here. Relief eased some of Nina's tension. Thank you. Both of you. More lightning, more thunder. The rain became a solid wall of sound. I'll show you up, Thomas offered. They climbed creaking stairs by candlelight. The spare room was small but clean. A double bed took up most of the space. Bathrooms across the hall, Thomas said. Need anything else? Nina shook her head. You've both done more than enough. Thomas paused at the door. What he did, leaving you out there, that's not on you. You know that, right? Nina's throat tightened. I'm learning. Downstairs, she heard James moving around the kitchen. Something about the brothers. Presence felt solid, dependable. Sleep well, Thomas said. Tomorrow will be better. Nina locked the door after he left. The candle cast dancing shadows on the walls. She sat on the bed, listening to rain and distant thunder. Her phone still showed no signal. The screen's light revealed Thomas and James in her recent photos. Blurry shots from when they first pulled up in their red car. Saviors in denim and dust. Nina changed into sleep clothes from her bag. The bed was surprisingly comfortable, but sleep felt dangerous. The Jaguar stalked her thoughts. Voices drifted up from below. The brothers talking in low tones. She couldn't make out words, but their cadence was heated. Nina pressed her ear to the floor. Can't keep her here, Thomas was saying. Just until the storm passes, James replied. I see how you look at her. Don't start. I'm not starting anything, just being realistic. Their voices dropped lower. Nina caught fragments. Dangerous. Need to be careful. Not like the others. She pulled back from the floor. Their conversation felt private, loaded with history she couldn't understand. Lightning flashed again. The thunder was more distant now. Nina curled under the quilt, her mind spinning with the day's events. Marcus's rage, the endless empty road, yellow eyes in tall grass, a red car appearing like salvation, two brothers with their own dark past. Sleep came in waves, broken by thunder and unfamiliar creaks. Nina dreamed of jaguars and orphanages, of mothers walking away, and men with kind eyes hiding painful secrets. She woke once to complete darkness. The storm had passed. Through thin walls, she heard the brothers still awake, moving below. Two rescuers, two strangers, two men whose scars might match her own. Nina drifted off again, uncertain if tomorrow would bring escape or something else entirely. Morning light crept under Nina's door. She woke to rooster calls and unfamiliar bed springs. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then, it all rushed back. She dressed quickly, listening for movement downstairs. Coffee scent drifted up. Male voices murmured. The bathroom mirror showed dark circles under her eyes. Nina splashed water on her face and retied her curls into a tight bun. Her hands still trembled. "Morning," James said when she entered the kitchen. He stood at the stove, cooking eggs. "Sleep, okay." As well as could be expected. Nina sat at the table. Thomas was already there, reading a worn newspaper. "Landlines still dead," Thomas said without looking up. "Storm knocked out some lines." James set a plate in front of Nina. "Eat, you barely touched anything yesterday." The eggs were perfectly cooked. Nina hadn't realized how hungry she was until the first bite. "What's your plan?" Thomas asked, finally meeting her eyes. Nina's fork paused. I don't know. I can't go back to Marcus." "Damn right you can't," James said. He joined them with his own plate. But I don't have anywhere else. My friend's on her honeymoon, no family." "Stay," James said immediately. Thomas's newspaper crinkled. "James, just until she figures things out," James continued. "We've got the space." Nina looked between them. "I couldn't impose." "You're not imposing," James said. "Right, Thomas." Thomas folded his newspaper carefully. "Right." But his tone said something else. "I could help around the farm," Nina offered. "Earn my keep." "Ever worked on a farm before?" Thomas asked. "No, but I learn fast." James smiled. "That's settled then." They finished breakfast in silence. Nina felt the tension between the brothers, thick as the morning fog outside. "I'll show you around," James said, standing. "Unless you object, Thomas?" Thomas's chair scraped back. "Your call." "Always is." He walked out, screen door banging behind him. Nina followed James outside. The farm sprawled before them. Red barn, chicken coops, fields stretching to tree lines. "Don't mind Thomas," James said. "He's protective. Of you? Of our privacy? Our reputation?" They walked toward the barn, Nina's shoes soaked with dew. "Because of what happened with your father," James nodded. "Small towns have long memories." Inside the barn, morning light streamed through high windows. James showed her where they kept feed, tools, supplies. "It's peaceful here," Nina said. "Can be, when Thomas isn't brooding." A horse whinnied in its stall. James introduced her to each animal: 3 horses, 2 cows, dozens of chickens. "City girl, huh?" he asked, as she hesitated to pet a horse. "Born and raised. Never saw farm animals except in pictures." "Well, this is Shadow. He's gentle." James guided her hand to the horse's nose. His fingers were warm against hers. Nina felt her pulse quicken. "James!" Thomas's voice cut through the barn. "Need help with the fence?" James stepped back. "Duty calls." Nina spent the morning exploring. The farmhouse had 2 stories, wrap-around porch, peeling white paint. Inside, family photos lined walls. The brothers younger, smiling. No parents in sight. She found Thomas fixing a fence post. Sweat darkened his shirt. "Need another pair of hands?" she asked. He looked up, surprised. "You serious?" "I meant what I said about helping." Thomas studied her for a moment. "Hold this straight." They worked in silence. Nina's palms blistered, but she didn't complain. "James likes you," Thomas said suddenly. Nina's grip slipped. "What?" "I know my brother. See how he looks at you." "Thomas, just be careful, both of you." Before Nina could respond, James appeared with water bottles. "Taking advantage of free labor already?" he asked Thomas. She volunteered. James handed Nina water. Their fingers brushed again. "Lunch soon," James said. "Hope you like sandwiches." The kitchen was cooler than outside. They ate at the table, sweat drying on their skin. Nina noticed things now. How James always sat next to her. How Thomas watched them both. "Tell us about your life," James said. "Before Marcus." Nina picked at her sandwich. "Not much to tell. Orphanage until 18. Worked at a coffee shop. Met Marcus at my friend's engagement party." "No other family?" Thomas asked. "Mother left when I was 6. Never knew my father." "Hard," James said softly. Nina shrugged. "Made me stronger, or so I thought, until yesterday." "Yesterday wasn't about strength," Thomas said. Both Nina and James looked at him. "It was about survival. You survived." Afternoon sun slanted through windows. Nina helped wash dishes while James dried. Thomas disappeared outside again. "He's right," James said, "about surviving. Seems like you both know something about that." James stacked plates. "We learned young. After father. Well, we only had each other. Must be nice, having someone to count on." "You can count on—" James stopped himself. "You're safe here. That's what matters." Nina dried her hands. "Oh, why do I feel like there's something you're not telling me?" James turned to face her. They stood close in the small kitchen. "There's a lot we don't tell anyone," he said. His eyes held hers. Nina felt heat rise in her cheeks. The screen door slammed. They jumped apart. "Storm cellar needs checking," Thomas announced. "James?" "Right." James stepped back. "Back soon." Nina watched them cross the yard. 2 brothers, so similar yet different. One open, one guarded. Both carrying secrets. She touched her cheek where the blush still burned. Thomas's warning echoed. "Be careful." But careful of what? Of whom? The afternoon stretched ahead. Nina found a book and settled on the porch swing. But her eyes kept drifting to the barn where the brothers worked. Something was building here. In the glances, the tensions, the unspoken words, Nina couldn't leave yet. But staying might prove just as dangerous as the jaguar's eyes. Nina woke before dawn on her second day at the farm. Sleep had been restless, filled with dreams of Marcus's rage and James's lingering looks. The kitchen was empty when she came down. Coffee already brewed. A note on the table. Gone to check fences. Back for breakfast. Jay. She poured coffee and stepped onto the porch. The sun hadn't cleared the trees yet. Mist hung low over the fields. Movement caught her eye. Thomas, alone by the barn, splitting wood. Each swing of the axe precise, controlled. Nina walked over. Early start. The axe paused mid-swing. Always is. Mind if I help? Thomas lowered the axe. You ever split wood before? No. But like I said yesterday, you learn fast. He handed her the axe. Show me. The axe was heavier than she expected. Nina positioned a log, raised the tool. Not like that, Thomas said. He stepped behind her, adjusted her grip. You'll hurt yourself. His hands were calloused but careful. Nina felt the difference from James's touch. Clinical, instructive. Now, try. The axe fell. The log split cleanly. Good, Thomas said, stepping back. Natural talent. Or good teacher. Something like a smile crossed his face. They worked in silence. Nina splitting smaller logs while Thomas handled larger ones. James isn't what you think, Thomas said suddenly. Nina wiped sweat from her forehead. What do you mean? He falls hard, falls fast. Then what? Thomas swung the axe. A log cracked. Then they leave. They always leave. I'm not planning to stay? Yeah, they all say that too. The barn door creaked. James emerged, saw them together. Started without me, he called. Teaching your girl how to split wood, Thomas said. The words carried an edge. Nina felt her face heat. I'm not his... Breakfast ready? James interrupted. His jaw was tight. They ate in tense silence. Nina pushed eggs around her plate, feeling the strain between the brothers. Landline's working, Thomas said finally. Nina's fork froze. Oh, you can call someone now. Thomas's eyes met hers. If you want. Right. Nina set down her fork. I should do that. James stood abruptly. I'll show you where it is. I think she can find a phone by herself, Thomas said. It's fine, Nina cut in. I'll find it. She left them at the table, found the old phone in the hall, but she didn't pick it up. Who would she call? Raised voices drifted from the kitchen. You're doing it again, Thomas was saying. Doing what? Getting attached. She's not staying, James. You don't know that. I know how this ends. Remember Sarah? Rachel? This is different. Like hell it is. Nina pressed her back against the wall, listening. She needs help, James said. She needs to leave. Before what? Before you get hurt. Before she gets hurt. Footsteps. Nina hurried back to the kitchen. The brothers fell silent. No answer, James asked. I didn't call anyone yet. Thomas pushed back his chair. I'll be in the barn. James waited until the door slammed. I'm sorry about him. He's worried about you. He's worried about everything. James stepped closer. Don't let him scare you away. Nina met his eyes. Who are Sarah and Rachel? James flinched. You heard? Some? He ran a hand through his hair. Past mistakes. Women who stayed a while, then left? Yeah. Nina touched his arm. I'm not them. No, James said softly. You're not. The moment stretched. Nina felt herself leaning in. The screen door banged. They jumped apart. Phone line's dead again, Thomas announced. His eyes took in their closeness. "Storm damage, probably," James said quickly. "Probably." Thomas's tone was flat. "Need help in the barn. Both of you." They followed him out. The day had warmed. Nina rolled up her sleeves as they worked, sorting feed, mending tack. James stayed close, finding reasons to brush past her. Thomas watched, face darkening. By afternoon, the tension was unbearable. "Stop it!" Thomas snapped when James helped Nina lift a hay bale. "Stop what?" "This act. She's leaving James. They all do." "Thomas," Nina started. "No," Thomas rounded on her. "You don't get it. He does this. Finds strays, tries to save them, but they always run. I'm not a stray. Aren't you? Abandoned on a road, nowhere to go." "That's enough," James growled. "Is it?" Thomas stepped closer. "Tell her, brother. Tell her about the others. How you played hero, offered shelter, fell in love." James's fist connected with Thomas's jaw. "James!" Nina screamed. The brothers grappled, years of unspoken tension exploding. They crashed into hay bales, fists flying. "Stop!" Nina grabbed James's arm. "Please!" They broke apart, breathing hard. Blood trickled from Thomas's lip. "See?" Thomas spat. Already choosing sides, he stormed out. James moved to follow. "Don't," Nina said. "Let him cool off." James's hands shook. "I'm sorry. He shouldn't have." "He's not wrong, is he? About the others?" Silence stretched. "No," James finally said, "but they weren't you. You don't know me. I know enough." He touched her cheek. "Stay, please." Nina stepped back. I need to think." She left him in the barn, walked until she reached the fence line. The sun was setting, painting everything gold. Two brothers, two versions of truth, and she was caught between them. Behind her, the farmhouse waited. Ahead, empty roads led to somewhere else. Nina wrapped her arms around herself. The decision felt impossible, but she had to make it soon. The farmhouse lights glowed through dusk. Nina sat on the porch steps, watching shadows lengthen. Neither brother had come looking for her. A truck engine rumbled in the distance. Headlights swept the yard. "Going to town," Thomas called from the driver's window. "Need supplies." Nina stood. Can I come?" Thomas studied her. "Get in." The truck smelled of leather and hay. Nina watched the farm disappear in the side mirror. "James know you're leaving?" Thomas asked. "I'm not leaving. Just need space to think." Thomas grunted. Miles passed in silence. "Those women," Nina finally said. "The ones before me. What about them? What really happened?" Thomas's hands tightened on the wheel. "Same story, different faces. James saves them, falls for them. They stay a while, then reality hits." "What reality?" "This life isn't for everyone. Isolation, small-town gossip, two brothers with a dark past. The shooting, that's part of it." Thomas glanced at her. "Town never forgot. Never let us forget. But it was self-defense. Doesn't matter. Murder's murder to them." Fields gave way to scattered houses. Town lights appeared ahead. "Sarah was first," Thomas said. 3 years ago. Car broke down near the farm. James fixed it, convinced her to stay. Lasted 2 months. What happened? Town women started talking, called her the murderer's whore. She left one night. No goodbye. Nina's stomach turned. And Rachel? Last year. Different story, same ending. James found her sleeping in her car at the gas station, offered help. Thomas laughed bitterly. She lasted longer, 4 months, even talked about marriage. But found out about father, couldn't handle it, said we were damaged goods. They pulled into the town's main street. Few people were out. "Stop," Nina said suddenly. "Please." Thomas parked. Nina stumbled out, gulping air. "Say, too much truth," he asked. "Why tell me all this?" "Because you need to know what you're walking into." Thomas leaned against the truck. "James is already falling for you. I see it, but you'll leave too. They all do. You don't know that." "Don't I?" He stepped closer. "Look around. This is what waits. Small minds, long memories. People who'll never let us forget one night 15 years ago." A woman passed on the sidewalk. Her eyes widened at Thomas, then hurried away. "See?" Thomas said. Nina watched the woman disappear into a store. "Why stay then? Why not leave?" "It's home, only one we've got." Thomas opened the truck door. "Coming?" Nina hesitated. "I need to walk, clear my head." "Suit yourself. Store's closing soon." The truck pulled away. Nina walked empty streets, mind spinning. Her phone buzzed, signal at last. Messages flooded in, most from Marcus. "I'm sorry. Please call. I didn't mean it." One from her friend. "Honeymoon's amazing. Miss you." Nina's finger hovered over Marcus's number. Then she blocked it. A diner's neon sign caught her eye. She went in, ordered coffee. "You're new," the waitress said. "Just passing through?" "Saw you with Thomas Reed." The waitress's voice dropped. "Be careful there. Those brothers. I know about the shooting." "Do you?" "Whole story." Nina's cup froze halfway to her lips. "What do you mean?" The waitress glanced around. "Some say it wasn't self-defense. Say Thomas planned it. Father's insurance money kept them afloat after." "That's not just telling you what folks say." The waitress topped off her coffee. 15 years, stories still the same. 2 brothers, 1 dead father. Lots of questions. Nina left cash on the table. The diner's bell chimed as she hurried out. Her phone showed missed calls from James. The night had cooled. Nina walked, letting snippets of conversation replay. "James, they weren't you." "Thomas, you'll leave too." The waitress. "Some say it wasn't self-defense." A truck horn blared. Thomas pulled alongside. "Get in. James is worried." Nina climbed in. Grocery bags filled the back seat. "You hear things in town?" Thomas asked. "Some. And?" "Doesn't matter what they say." Thomas's laugh was harsh. "Doesn't it?" They drove in silence. The farm appeared, James pacing the porch. "Where were you?" he demanded as they got out. "Needed air," Nina said. "Could have said something." "Like you said something about Sarah? Rachel?" James stepped back like she'd slapped him. "She knows," Thomas said. "Told her everything." "Why?" "Because someone had to." Thomas grabbed the groceries. "Before you got in too deep." He went inside. James stared at Nina. What else did he tell you?" "Enough," Nina hugged herself. "The town, the rumors, everything." "Nina, I need to leave, James." Silence stretched. Crickets chirped. "Because of what they say. Because I can't be another Sarah, another Rachel." Nina's voice cracked. "I can't be someone's salvation project. That's not what this is." "Isn't it?" She touched his cheek. "You saved me, like you saved them. But I won't let you save me from yourself." James caught her hand. Stay. One more day. Please. Nina looked at the farmhouse. Thomas watched from a window. One day, she whispered. Then I go. But even as she said it, something inside her fractured. Because maybe Thomas was wrong. Maybe she wouldn't leave. Maybe she couldn't. Nina sat in Thomas's truck again, watching farmland blur past. This time, she wasn't running from something, but to someone. You sure about this? Thomas asked. James sat silently in the back seat. No. Nina twisted her hands in her lap. But I need to try. They'd found her mother's address online that morning. 3 hours away. Close enough to drive. Far enough to turn back. What will you say? James leaned forward. I don't know. Nina stared at the road. 15 years of silence. Where do you start? Nobody answered. The radio played static between stations. Nina thought about the phone call, her fingers shaking as she dialed. Hello? A woman's voice. Older, but familiar. Mom? Silence. Then, Nina. Can I come see you? Another pause. Yes. That was it. No explanation needed. No questions asked. Now, the truck 8 miles, carrying her toward that voice. Turn here, Nina said. A suburban street. Normal houses, normal lives. That one. She pointed to a blue house with white trim. A garden spread across the front yard. Thomas parked. Nobody moved. Want us to come with you? James asked. Nina shook her head. Need to do this alone. She got out on shaky legs. The garden path seemed miles long. Her knuckles hit the door 3 times. Seconds stretched. The door opened. Her mother looked smaller than Nina remembered. Gray streaked her dark curls. Same eyes, though. Nina's eyes. You came. Her mother's voice trembled. Yeah. They stood, frozen. 15 years of distance between them. Come in. Her mother stepped back. Nina glanced at the truck. James nodded encouragement. The house smelled of coffee and cinnamon. Family photos lined walls. None of Nina. Sit, please. Her mother gestured to a couch. Coffee? Sure. Nina perched on the edge of the cushion. Her mother disappeared into the kitchen. Pictures on the coffee table caught her eye. A man, 2 young children. Her mother returned with mugs. Saw what Nina was looking at. You're half-siblings, she said quietly. Jacob and Marie. Nina's throat closed. How old? 10 and 8. Do they know about me? Her mother set the mugs down. Yes, I told them they have a sister. Half-sister. Nina. 15 years, Mom. Nina's voice cracked. 15 years of nothing. I know. Her mother sat heavily. I know. Why? The question hung between them. Simple. Impossible. I was 19, her mother said. Scared. Alone. Your father gone. I thought you'd have a better life without me. Better? Nina stood. I waited every day. Every single day for a year. Watching other kids get adopted while I waited for my mom to come back. I'm sorry. Tears rolled down her mother's cheeks. I was wrong. So wrong. You got married. Had more kids. Forgot about me. Never. Her mother reached for her hand. I never forgot. I have every newspaper clipping about you. Honor roll. Dance recitals. Your high school graduation picture. Nina pulled away. You watched from a distance? That's worse. I was ashamed. The longer I waited, the harder it got. Her mother wiped her eyes. Then I saw you yesterday. In town. Nina froze. What? At the diner. With that man. I almost spoke to you. But what? You looked so strong. Beautiful. Successful. I thought, what right do I have to walk back into your life? Nina laughed bitterly. Successful? Mom? I was abandoned on a road yesterday. My boyfriend left me to die. Those men in the truck, strangers who saved me from a jaguar. Her mother's face paled. What? Nina told her everything. Marcus. The road. The jaguar. The brothers. Her mother listened, crying quietly. Just like me, she whispered when Nina finished. What? I abandoned you, just like he abandoned you. Her mother stood. The cycle continues. No. Nina's voice was firm. I broke it. I'm here. Why? Because... Nina swallowed hard. Because I need to know if there's anything left to save. Her mother touched her face. Nina didn't pull away. My beautiful girl, her mother whispered. I don't deserve a second chance. Probably not. Nina felt tears fall. But I deserve answers. Peace. Whatever this is. They cried together, years of pain flowing between them. A knock at the door. James's voice. Nina, you okay? Come in, she called. The brothers entered cautiously. Her mother straightened. Thank you, she told them, for saving my daughter. She saved herself, Thomas said. We just gave her a ride. Nina caught James's eye. He smiled slightly. Will you stay? Her mother asked. For dinner? The kids? Your siblings? They'll be home soon. Nina hesitated. I don't know if I'm ready. Just dinner, her mother said. Small steps. The brothers moved toward the door. Stay, Nina said. Please. They sat around her mother's table. Strange family pieced together by chance and choice. Her siblings burst in after school, stopped short at the sight of Nina. Are you our sister? Marie asked. Nina looked at her mother, saw hope, fear, love. Yes, she said, I am. Dinner was awkward, beautiful, broken, healing. Later, in the truck heading back to the farm, Nina leaned against James's shoulder. You did good, he whispered. So think it'll last? Depends. On what? On whether you stay around to find out. Nina watched darkness roll past, thought of her mother's tears, the children's questions, James's warmth beside her. One day at a time, she said. Thomas drove silently, but she caught his small nod in the mirror. One day at a time. It was enough for now. Morning sun found Nina on the farmhouse porch, phone in hand. Marcus's number glowed on the screen, unblocked after a week of peace. You don't have to call him, James said, stepping out with coffee mugs. I know, Nina took a mug, but I need to end it, properly. James sat beside her, close, but not touching. Want privacy? Stay, please. Nina pressed dial. 3 rings. Nina? Marcus's voice, desperate. Baby, I'm so sorry. Stop. Her voice was steady. I'm not calling for apologies. Please come home. I've changed. I'll get help. You left me to die. Silence. A jaguar. Marcus, there was a jaguar. I didn't know. That's the point. Nina gripped the phone tighter. You didn't think, didn't care, you just drove away. Where are you? Let me make it right. I'm safe. That's all you need to know. Nina felt James's presence beside her. Strength. We're done. Don't call again. Nina? She hung up, blocked the number again. Her hands shook. You okay? James asked. No, Nina sipped coffee. But I will be. Thomas emerged from the barn, saw them together. His face tightened. Fence needs fixing, he called. They worked through morning heat. Nina's hands were stronger now, calloused from farm work. A week had changed her. What got plans? Thomas asked as they broke for water. What do you mean? Can't stay here forever. James slammed his water bottle down. Thomas, he's right, Nina said. I need to figure things out. No rush, James said quickly. Thomas snorted, walked away. Nina watched him go. He still doesn't trust me. He doesn't trust anyone. James touched her arm. Give him time. Like you gave Sarah time. Rachel? James flinched. Different situation. Is it? Nina turned to face him. What happens when town gossip starts? When they call me names, too? I don't care what they say. Thomas does. Thomas needs to let go. Nina looked at the farmhouse, her temporary sanctuary. Maybe we all do. Evening brought a truck down the drive. Nina tensed until she recognized her mother's blue house dress. Hope it's okay, her mother said, stepping out. I brought dinner. Nina hugged her. A week of daily calls had eased some pain. Marie made this for you. Her mother handed over a crayon drawing, 2 stick figures. My sister, written in wobbly letters. Tears pricked Nina's eyes. They ate on the porch. Thomas even joined, quiet but present. You look better, her mother said. Stronger. Feel it. Nina caught James's smile. Farm work helps? And the company? Nina blushed. Her mother's knowing look caught the gesture. Later, washing dishes, her mother spoke softly. He loves you. Nina nearly dropped a plate. Mom, I see how he watches you. Like you're something precious. It's complicated. Life is complicated. Her mother dried a bowl. It doesn't mean it's wrong. They hugged goodbye, progress, small steps. Visit soon? Her mother asked. Promise. Nina watched the truck disappear. Stars emerged above the farm. A scream split the night. Nina ran toward the barn, found James on the ground, Thomas kneeling beside him. Snake, Thomas said tersely. Got his arm. James's face was pale. Blood trickled from 2 punctures. Hospital, Nina said. Now! They lifted James into the truck. Nina cradled his head in her lap while Thomas drove. Stay awake, she ordered. Talk to me. Bossy, James mumbled. Damn right. Thomas's knuckles were white on the wheel. 5 minutes. James's eyes fluttered. Nina tapped his cheek. Remember when you found me? She asked. On the road? Thought you were a mirage. I thought you were angels. James smiled weakly. No angel. Shut up and stay conscious. The hospital was bright, sterile. Forms to fill. Questions to answer. Family only, a nurse said. She is family, Thomas snapped. The nurse backed away. Hours passed. Antivenom. Monitoring. Nina paced. He'll be okay, Thomas said. Nina stopped pacing. You don't know that. No, my brother. Too stubborn to die. She studied Thomas's face, saw fear behind the calm. I'm not leaving, she said suddenly. Thomas looked up. What? That's what you're afraid of, right? That I'll run when things get hard. Nina, I love him. The words surprised them both. I love this farm, this life. Town will talk. Let them. Thomas stood, touched her shoulder. Okay, he said simply. James slept through the night. Nina watched his chest rise and fall. Morning brought consciousness. Pain, relief. You stayed, James whispered. Always will. His good hand found hers, squeezed. Thomas appeared with coffee, saw their joined hands. About time, he muttered. They brought James home that afternoon. Nina helped him to bed. Some romantic confession, he said. Me half dead from snakebite. Heard that, did you? Every word. He pulled her close. Love you too. Nina kissed him softly. Finally. On the porch, Thomas cleared his throat. Welcome to the family, he said gruffly. Officially. Nina smiled. Thanks, brother. He nodded once, walked away, but she saw his smile. The farm stretched before her. Her home now. Their home. Some endings were really beginnings. 3 months changed everything. The farm bloomed with late summer heat. Nina's garden sprouted next to the porch. Her mother visited weekly, bringing Marie and Jacob to play. This morning, Nina woke early. James slept beside her, arm healed but scarred. A reminder of choices made. She dressed quietly, headed outside. Thomas already worked in the barn. Morning, she said. Sleep well? He handed her a pitchfork. Better than you. Heard you up late. Thomas shrugged. To thinking about changes. They worked in comfortable silence. Brother and sister now, in all ways that mattered. Town's talking again, Thomas said finally. When aren't they? Different this time. About the farm. Nina paused. What about it? Developers want land, offering good money. The pitchfork froze mid-motion. You'd sell, considering it. Does James know? Not yet. Thomas leaned on a stall door. Place needs work. Money's tight. We'll manage. Like we always have, bitterness crept in, barely scraping by. Thomas, you deserve better, both of you. Nina set the pitchfork down. Better than what? Love, family, home. Be realistic. I am. She touched his arm. This farm saved me. Not just from Marcus or the Jaguar, from being alone. Thomas looked away. James wants to marry you. I know. You know? Found the ring last week, hidden in the barn. Thomas almost smiled. He never could hide things well. Runs in the family. The barn door creaked. James entered, squinting at sunlight. Starting without me. Nina kissed him good morning, felt the ring box in his pocket. Just bonding with your brother. Should I worry? Always, Thomas said, but his tone was light. They worked through morning heat. Nina watched the brothers move in sync, years of shared labor evident in every gesture. A car approached. Nina recognized her mother's vehicle. Marie burst out first. Nina, we brought lunch. Jacob followed, carrying a basket. Their mother emerged last, smiling. Surprise picnic, she called. They spread blankets in shade, shared food and stories, family pieced together by choice and chance and love. I have news, Nina's mother said after lunch. Everyone tensed. I'm moving closer. Bought a house in town. Silence. Then Marie squealed. We'll see Nina more. You sure? Nina asked quietly. Time to face the past. Her mother squeezed her hand. All of it. Thomas stood abruptly. Walked to the barn. James followed. Nina gave them space. They'll adjust, her mother said. Town won't make it easy. Since when has easy been worth it? Nina watched the barn. Voices drifted out, raised, then softening. The brothers emerged. Thomas's eyes were red. Okay, Nina asked. James nodded. Getting there. The afternoon passed in gentle chaos. Marie and Jacob explored the farm. Their mother helped Nina weed the garden. Thomas taught Jacob about horses, while James watched, smiling. As sunset painted the sky, James took Nina's hand. "Walk with me." They headed toward the fence line, their spot now, where decisions were made. James stopped, turned to face her. "I had a whole speech planned," he said. "Did you?" "About love, family, future." Nina touched his cheek. "I already know the answer." "Do you?" He pulled out the ring box. Simple gold band inside. "Yes." Nina smiled. "Always yes." The ring fit perfectly, like belonging. Back at the house, Thomas waited. "Finally," he said, but hugged them both. Their mother cried. The children danced around them. "About the developers," Thomas said later, after the others left. "Keep the farm," Nina said firmly. "You sure? Could be a fresh start." James took her hand. "We're already fresh starting." Thomas studied them, nodded once. "Then we work harder," he said. "Make it worth keeping." Night settled over the farm. Their farm now, always. Nina stood on the porch, watching stars emerge, James's arms wrapped around her. "Happy?" he asked. "More than." Thomas joined them, 3 chairs creaking. "Town'll talk," he said. "Let them." Nina touched her ring. "We know the truth." "Which is?" "Family isn't always blood." She looked between them. "Sometimes it's a red car on an empty road, a barn in a storm, a brother's grudging acceptance." "Getting soft on us," Thomas teased. "Never." They sat in comfortable silence. Crickets sang. Wind rustled corn. "Sarah called," Thomas said suddenly. Nina tensed. James's hand found hers. "Heard about the developers. Wanted to warn us." "And?" "Told her we're good. Got all the family we need." Nina leaned over, kissed his cheek. "Love you too, brother." Thomas blushed, stood quickly. "Night," he mumbled, but smiled. Alone again, Nina curled into James. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "Saving me." "You saved yourself." He kissed her softly. "We just gave you a reason to stay." Inside, Thomas's footsteps creaked above. Their mother's picnic basket sat by the door. Children's laughter echoed in memory. "A year ago," Nina said, "I thought I was broken, unwanted. And now?" She touched her ring, looked at their home. "Now I know better." Stars wheeled overhead. The farm slept. And Nina finally understood. Some roads led nowhere, but some led home.